Hello, my name is Jimmy Thompson. I'm the co-founder of Fair Chance Project. Fair Chance Project is an organization made up of ex-offenders, prisoners, and family of prisoners. We advocate fair sentencing laws and also fair parole practices. We also prepare lifers to attend the board of parole hearings. Being an ex-offender, I know the challenges that lifers face going into the board of prison terms. It's very hard. I attended the board of parole hearings 11 times and was found suitable 5 times, only to find out my suitability was reversed by the governor. But I was eventually released through the courts the 27th of September 2007. And that was a sweet day. So I know something about going to the board and being found suitable for parole. Now, if you don't want to go home, you want to stay in prison the rest of your life, you want to watch TV and play dominoes the rest of your life, then this film is not for you. You might as well turn it off and go on back to the yard and walk around the track. But if you're serious and you want to be honest with yourself and you're ready to go home and you want to be with your family and you want to be a father to your children, then you are ready for this film. This film is designed for you. It's tailored for you. Now, all cases are different, but what we're trying to show is the basic concept on what you should do in order to prepare yourself for the board of parole hearings. And if you do what's stated in this film, and you're truthful with yourself, and you work diligently, I will see you on the outside. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Clarence Tolliver, and I'm here today to talk to you about myself and being out of prison and what it took to be out of prison. I was incarcerated for 27 years and 8 months. That is 27 years, 8 months. I left the streets of Los Angeles on February 4th, 1981, and I did not return until October 9th, 2008. And I'm here now. I've been out 2 years and about 7 months. We're going to talk about 4 things. They're like ingredients. There is no set format to get out of prison, but we're going to talk about culpability, insight, remorse, and responsibility. We're going to talk about those things. When you have them, there's a strong probability, there's a strong possibility that you will be here. So, let's get started. Kick back. Hope you got pen and paper that you can take notes, because I want to give you something that may help you. It has helped me, and it also has helped many others. We're going to start with culpability, because culpability is something that a lot of us, we don't accept. Culpability just means that you accept the fact that you belong in prison, of what you did and what you've been doing, things you've done. You accept, you finally understand. Prison is where I was going to end up, and I understand why I'm there, and I accept the fact that I was in prison, that I am in prison. So it's culpability. So that's an easy one. But it takes time to get there because you got to go through the other three to actually accept that part. Insight is one of the most biggest ones because insight is something that you got to go deep in yourself. You got to lay in your bunk. You might come to tears about it. You got to understand everything about you and how wrong you were from day one. From the time of your first theft, stealing candy bars out of a store, stealing, whether it was money out of your mom's purse or period, just taking things. You have to go all the way back and understand your wrongs. And really understanding how did you get to that point, whether you're in prison for murder, kidnap with assault, murder, kidnap, robbery, kidnap, whatever it is that got you life is where you have to look at to see where did you become that type of person that could commit such a horrendous type of crime. You can't blame the society. You can't blame your environment because everything that you've done was by choice, some way or another. You chose to do it, you gave in to do it, and so it's on you, and that's where you have to take the responsibility of everything. Now, the reason I say that is for myself, because I understand me now. I understand where, when I joined the gang, way back in 1969, 1970, I understand why I joined the gang. You know, wanted to extend the family, wanted to be accepted. So I was in the gang. But my real downfall, my first real downfall was when I purchased a .357 Magnum. In purchasing that weapon, that gave me a false courage. That gave me a sense of, what is the word I'm trying to say? Invincible, where if you mess with me, I have something where I could come now. But I have to understand that that's where my downfall became, because I purchased a .357 Magnum way back in 1976. I had my own place. I purchased that gun. I was working at Ralph's Market, but I was so interested, so drawn to the game. And the game I'm saying is selling dope, pickpocketing, just crime in general. But my thing was, you know, had to have money. Working wasn't doing it. A square job, that wasn't gonna get it. Not the type of money that I saw others have and I wanted. So yes, I chose the dope game. But that .357 Magnum helped me because it gave me that, as I said, that point of feeling invincible. So start selling dope, and I realized that there's rules that come with that we give up our rules, our rights, our God-given rights, we give up when we choose the game, because the game has rules that we must play by, or you won't be in existence because you went against the rules of the game. Now, this is a choice that you now have given up because you have accepted these new rules. And this is where the insight, when you come and you can figure out yourself that you really did give up your legal rights, your personal rights, your God-given rights to be part of an illegal activity that has its own rules, and you swore to play by them. It's about choice. But when you have the insight, you understand your choices. You understand what led you to be a vicious, no good for nothing person in your own neighborhood where you think you are the stuff, I'm going to keep it clean here. But you think but you're not. You're really despicable. And the reason I can say that about me, I'm saying it about me. And when you can see it about yourself, when you have insight, you will see it about yourself. Because you know what? I sold dope right on Street 77th, and we're going to leave the rest of it there. But I sold dope in an apartment where Miss Jenkins lived next door to me. Helen lived down the stairs. Helen had kids. There was many kids there. And I sold dope right there for almost 2.5 years. Kids right there. Dope fiends, dope people coming right there. Kids playing, riding bikes. I'm thinking I'm the man because, you know, dollars and change I'm giving to the kids. So it made me feel good, make the kids feel good. And you look at it, when you really look back at it, you have to see what you were doing to your own damn neighborhood. The destruction. You were the destruction. I was the destruction of my neighborhood. Jumping ahead, while I was in prison, several of young homies, as we would say, came to prison. And you know what? They glorified the stuff that I'd done. They told me I really put it down. I showed them how to do it. And they walk in the yard with me now with a double life sentence. That did not make me feel like I was somebody. That's the fruit of my destruction. Not the fruit of my labor, but the fruit of my destruction of tearing up my own neighborhood. You can never talk about what you had in a glorifying manner. Because as long as you glorifying it, you don't get it. Until you can actually see that you were destructive, you were despicable, and you can understand that of who you were versus who you are, then you got it. But if you can't do that, and you still feel you know, Money Mike, and they still calling you Money Mike going to the board today, man. Let's wish him well. Well, if Money Mike is going to the board, that same despicable person that committed all them crimes, that did everything wrong, and whatever, is going to the board, and he's not going to get out of prison because Money Mike ain't got it. Until you become Michael and understand that's who you are, and understand Money Mike doesn't exist no more, that Money Mike was despicable, and he is despicable to you, then you got it. Remorse is something that you have to have. And the remorse is that you really have to be able to not just say it, not just be able to say, I'm sorry for what I've done. That's too easy. I was saying that in 1990 when I first went to the board. I'm sorry for what I've done. Do you know how many times they've heard that? Remorse is not something that you speak. Remorse is something that you have to be able to show. And I'm not talking about saying you're sorry and then come to tears because of what you've done. No, once again, it ties into insight. To understand the destruction, to understand the pain, to understand the wrong, to understand that you went not only against the law, but you also went against God's law of committing a crime on another human being. In my case, taking a life. As you know, the word is, thou shalt not kill. I harmed a lady, a mother, by causing the police to knock on her door and tell her her son has been murdered. Now, we watch TV because we got TVs in there. You know, you've watched police shows, Law and Order. You watch movies. You watched everything. You know that how that goes. Now connect yourself for being the reason that that mother is feeling the pain. Connect yourself and understand, would you want your own mom to have that pain, which some of our mothers have, because our brothers have been killed. And you've been told over the phone, they shot Ricky. They killed Ricky. Just imagine how that made you feel, but now put it in a mother's form of her own son, her baby. And they're telling them, your son was somewhere and he was gunned down, shot in the back, and he's dead. You can feel me. You can feel me. You know she yelled. You know she screamed, probably dropped down to her knees, covered her mouth. Other family members ran to her and holding her up, and what's wrong? And she tells them and everybody, look at the ripple effects, what you done, what I done, the ripple effects. From my actions, it caused that much pain in the household. And once it went from a household, it went to a funeral. Now it's in the community. The pain is in the community. That's how you have to know. That's the insight that you have to feel. That's the insight you have to know, and that's the remorse that you have to have. That you truly do have to be not sorry, yes, apologetic, yes, but you gotta feel that pain, and it gotta hurt you to the core that you're the cause of it. It gotta hurt you to the core. And that is what and how you show remorse. That's when you know you got it. When you can feel that and know that that is the worst. That wow. But you have to forgive yourself, man. I'm not telling you to beat yourself up. I'm just telling you to know yourself, man. To know the despised, the despicable things, just the worst things in the world that we have done as individuals. But I'm a religious man. I don't know about you, but I do know God is all forgiving, so this is why I can move on. Because I know if I can do some work today in just giving back in this manner. I teach a computer class out here. It's a part-time job along with the part-time job that I have. It's for ex-felons taught by ex-felons. I teach this class on Wednesdays. Every Wednesday, it's 9 to 1. I have more senior citizen women coming to my class than I have my fellow ex-felons. But the class is open to everybody, but it states on the flyer, ex-felons, free computer class for ex-felons, and when you come, you find out it's taught by ex-felon. I learned computers right there. Microsoft specialists in Word, Excel, Access, PowerPoint. Know it inside and out, and now I'm teaching it here, where I also taught it inside at Solano. Now I'm teaching it here, all praises be. But what I'm getting at is, it's my form of giving back. So, that's remorse. You gotta find a way to display it, and you gotta feel it. When you can feel it, you can speak it, you can show it, and you can tell other people how it's supposed to be done because you feel it. Everything about you now is from the heart. And the last one that we want to speak on, the very last one, is responsibility. Responsibility, again, it's like the rest of them. It's like remorse. You can say you have insight. You can be, I'm sorry for what I've done. But responsibility is the same thing. I take full responsibility for my actions. And you know, sometimes the board might hit you with the questions. How do you take responsibility? So, When it's not here, you're going to be stumbling because you got to pause now. And you got to give it some thought. And as you're thinking about it, the board members are looking to say, he don't have it. He had to think about it. Now, I'm not telling you that you should never think about what you say. Because I have a rule about going to the board. I have a rule to listen to what is being said to you and think 5 times before you answer. But those 5 times have to be thought of real fast. But listen to what is being said and think 5 times before you answer. Now, responsibility is doing just that. Taking responsibility for what you've done, but not taking responsibility for only what you've done while you're sitting in front of these people for the crime, for the particular crime. The way that you can let them know that you take responsibility for your crime that you are charged with is also taking responsibility for everything you have done in your life. And you need to start it off. And I take full responsibilities for my actions, for everything that I've done in this crime, as well as the wrongs that you have on record that I've done, my rap sheet or whatever. I take responsibility for that. But I also take responsibility for being a destructive person in my community. Now, when you start talking like that, now you can tie everything in. You can tie insight in, you can tie remorse in. Because when you're taking responsibility, it comes right out of you from the heart that you are taking responsibility, and you also are very remorseful about your past actions. Listen for the past tense words. You were, you was. You did this, you did that. Don't run from it. Take responsibility for it. Yes, I did. Yes, I was. But that is not who is sitting in front of you today. Now, very quickly, because responsibility is really an easy one in the manner of once you have insight and remorse, responsibility, it just falls in the line. Because you take responsibility because you understand who you were versus who you are. So who you were didn't take responsibility. Who you are, take full responsibility, not only for the crime that you're in prison for, but also for the destruction that you placed on your community. And you know, we've done a lot of things. Gangbanging, we jumped on people, we rode bicycles and shot at people, we shot up and down the street, we shot dice right in front of the house. Miss Jenkins come home, we stand by, we step out the way and let Miss Jenkins by, and we all speak to her. Nobody needs to live like that. And then some of us get in the point that we don't even stop no more. We ain't got to live like that. That's when you know. That's when you know you got it. Going to the board, please be aware of some of their trap questions. One of their trap questions is, Mr. Smith. And they're going to say it real nice, real calm. They're going to read, as we all know, I'm positively sure they still say, we believe by the findings of the court. We find the findings and the facts of the courts to be true. And then they read your case. So you also have to hear now, because you're responsible, because you have insight, because you have remorse, because you have culpability, you now have the knowledge when they say, we find the facts and the findings of the court to be true, then you also got to find them to be true, no matter how off they may be. Please don't get into the splitting of the hairs of the court say you jumped in the car and you drove down the street and turned left. No, I jumped in the car and I went down the street and I turned right. I went over Susie's house. Don't get into that, because the bottom line is the crime still occurred. No matter what little problems that they have with the detail is the wrong that has happened. The taking of a life, the robbing of someone, the kidnapping of someone. It don't matter that you had the gun in the left hand and you're right-handed. The crime is what matters. That's what you take responsibility for. So when they say that they find the findings of the court to be true, so do you. So do you. You'll be on the right path. The questions to watch for, one of them is, Inmate Smith, tell us why you did this. For 10 times, I was asked that question at the very beginning of the hearing. 10 straight times, I went in immediate action of answering that question. Inmate Tolliver, tell us why you did it. Oh, well, I was at my house, and a guy came down to my house, and he told me some guys down there with a gun, so I grabbed my gun, and I'm really sorry that I grabbed my gun and went down there. I know I shouldn't have went, but I went down there anyway, and so shooting broke out, and I pointed my gun and I shot. Every time I answered that question. Got better at it, put better adjectives with it, made it sound better, but each time I'm falling for the trap. The trap is, Tolliver, tell us why you did it. Now, where do you see the trap? Can you hear the trap? Do you see the trap? Well, it took me 10 times to finally figure it out. The trap is, it's a why question. You remember when we were young and your mom or your dad, when you did wrong, and they say, boy, why you do that? And you go there explaining. The meaning of explaining is also justifying. So in the point of explaining why you did something, you are also justifying why you did something. And please know, you cannot make no law-abiding citizen believe and give them a justification why you murdered someone, why you kidnapped someone, why you held them up, tied them up, and you give a justification. No. Anytime somebody asks you why, they are looking for a reason. You cannot give a reason for committing murder. You can only take the responsibility for it. You can have insight of how it happened, not why it happened, but how it happened. So my answer after the 10th time, my answer became, I will not sit here and justify my actions. That question has been posed to me several times, and I have answered it in the manner of an explanation. But there is no explanation, no justification, more or less, you should say, justification on why I committed murder. So you take the responsibility. There is no justification. I'm not going to sit here and try to justify why I took another man's life, but I will sit here and tell you what happened that night, because I want you to also know that I too find the findings of the courts, the facts and the findings of the court, true. So what they said I've done, I did do, because the end result is the victim is dead. This is how I talked. The victim is dead and I'm responsible. So I can tell you what happened, but there is no way I can sit here and justify my action, because I am wrong. I am wrong and I am sorry. See? Responsibility, insight that I understand why I'm wrong, and then remorse. all tied together when it's from here. So watch out for the why questions. Watch out for tell us the reason. That's the same thing. Tell us the reason. The same thing. Tell us how it happened. It sounds different, but we answer it in the same way with justification. Be very careful. Understand, if you had a gun, you use a gun, and that question come up, where did you get the gun? Immediately say, illegally. Don't give justification, I purchased the gun for protection, because your hearing is over when you say, I had the gun for protection. Now you open the door, the Pandora box, for so many questions. Protection? Protection from who? People in my neighborhood. People in your neighborhood. Did everybody have a gun in your neighborhood? Well, everybody, now you see, you stuck. Well, everybody that I knew, everybody that you knew had a gun. And if you really say yes, do you know how many people you really know? Everybody you know don't have a gun. It may seem like that when you was hanging with the homies and all that, and y'all had all those guns. Miss Jenkins didn't have a gun, or if she did have a gun, I didn't know she had a gun. So it's a trap. Where did you get the gun from? I purchased illegally. Why did you have it? I had it because eventually sitting in this boardroom before, I used to tell you, board members, that I had it for protection. But I understand now who I am today. The insight that I have today, I know that's the most foolish answer in the world, to say I had a gun for protection. I know that I had that gun now for eventually I was going to hurt and harm someone severely. I understand that now because who I am now. That's just some. You have to go through your own transcripts. You have to go through your own archives of you. You got to lay in your bunk and really think about it all. And hate who you were and love who you are. Again, hate who you were and make it just that. He is so far not you, so far behind you, and you are so far beyond him. You don't allow people to call you Money Mike no more. Man, my name is Mike or Michael. That's what my mom named me. That Money Mike, that's over. That's how you have to get out. Man, I want to thank you as I welcome you in my home. I'm welcoming you here to see me, to hear me, because I'm out. And believe me, in 1981, May 21st, 1981, hitting the Folsom grounds, old Folsom, they only had 9 prisons, and they wasn't even calling them prison. They only had 2 prisons and 7 institutions when I went to prison. And I went to Folsom. So when I got to Folsom, I didn't believe I was ever getting out of prison. But when I started going to the board and they started talking to me about getting out of prison, I got on the path, but it took 10 times before I truly understood insight, responsibility, remorse, and culpability. I hope you was taking notes, because you need those. You need to understand them. And when you can talk about them from your heart, the fruit of your labor will be this right here. You'll be with your family. So I want to thank you for taking the time, man, and watching this. I hope you got something out of it, because I sure feel good doing it, because it's my form of reaching back to my fellow brothers and trying to pull you here. Because, man, I'm going to tell you, and this time I am going to curse. This shit is great! So please understand that. I hope you can feel me. I love my life. So, man, hurry up and get here. Thank you.
Once the inmate has said and is expressed, either I'm ready to come home, I want to come home, a combination of those two, and the family members are in agreement with that and feel that and know that to be so, and are also wanting that inmate to come home, the work then is, it's a hard work, but it's going to be worthwhile. A lot of our friends, they didn't know Kenya because Kenya had been incarcerated for, at that point, 22, 23 years. But through me introducing them, some of them gained relationships with him, personal relationships, and then others gained relationships by proxy through stories that I told of Kenya, and then what they saw what they saw in me, they knew that the person that I was working so hard for was valuable. And so they were willing to make that investment sight unseen.
If your family out here campaigning for you, and then you get caught with a cell phone, or you get caught with a dirty test, and it makes your family look foolish, as well as you, and you sitting back in the background all the time, already knowing what you're doing. If you really want to go home or come home, you're going to do the right thing, and you're going to stop playing games, which I had to do. I had to stop playing games with myself, because what's done in the dark, as you know, comes to the light. So, you know, before you get your family involved in this, you got to be seriously ready to commit 100%. When you go to board, you got to present yourself. This is the meeting of your life. This is more than a job interview. This is a life interview. And if you mess it up, you're not going to go home. And as bad as we all want to go home, you know, you got to just go in there with your blues on, creased and everything, like you're going on a visit. You know, you got to go out there and represent yourself. You know what I'm talking about, fellas. And because these people, the board members, when they sit there, they're going to look at you and they're going to say, the final question is, would I be okay with this individual living next door to me and my family? I would like to, you know, show you. This is my book that I put together. It's like a phone book in some ways, to present to the board, because as you know, your counselors, they'll lose your paperwork, C-file get all tore up, get switched up, and they don't have documentation. So I took it upon myself to start my own book, and I put every group, every certificate, every support letter, every job offer. I even went as far as printing my poetry that I write, my feelings, you know, expressing myself. And I created this book with the help of my wife.
He did the work on the inside.
Yeah, but she did the work on our side. So we did put this book together, as well as our lives. You know, this is a big part of our lives. Mm-hmm. Even though we were separated, it brought us together because we was able to communicate, you know, and talk and put plans together, brainstorm together. And like I said, and like she said, she put the footwork in, but I did the work in the inside,
yeah,
to make what you see now,
the book's possible,
come true.
Yeah. You got to save every piece of paper, every good guy chrono, every, I don't know, what do you call it, that when you got your job and they said how much money you made.
The 101s. You want to keep all your 101s, because you're rated on the 101s, as you know, excellent, very good, and all of this. You need every piece of documentation, because they have every negative piece of documentation on you, and they don't lose that, all the way from the courthouse, all the way from the psych. So just make sure everything stay consistent, and the psych reports are a big deal too, and you know it. A lot of people aren't able to express the way that they feel when it comes to a psych, and they go by a formula. So talk to some of the other guys in there that's getting good psych reports so that you can get some positive feedback.
When Kenya went to board in 2008, I read the transcripts, and the commissioners, this is a pretty hefty book. And when each one got a copy, and the DA got a copy, and it was dropped on the desk before him, one of the commissioners, he kind of jokingly called it a novel. And basically, that's what it is. It's the story in paper, in writing, of everything that has gone on, especially positive, that Kenya has had record of. And this one starts from 1989. Some papers might seem insignificant, but there is no paper work, especially if it's saying something good about you that's insignificant. So gather it so that it can be copied, and then it can be put together in something like this. Maybe your book isn't going to be this big, but the main thing is to have a paper trail, a positive paper trail, because like Kenya said, they have all kinds of negative documentation, not enough positive, but you can push this out there and it tells your story. We wanted to approach the books pretty much in a business, professional manner. So that's why our books look like this. We got binders from the office supply store. We made sure we had enough for each person that was going to be involved in the hearing. We labeled them with Kenya's name and CDC number. We got colored tabs. Yeah. We got colored tabs to divide each section. We wanted to make sure we had his accomplishments as far as job, the different responsibilities that he held while he was in prison, his education, his educational goals, and the types of trades and certificates that he received. We wanted to make sure we had his parole plans, what he was going to do once he was released. We also had a section specifically for support letters from families and friends and whoever. And then we had job offers. And those sections were divided clearly. So if the board wanted to attack a certain area, boom, there it is. We got this letter, this job offer here, this, opening for housing. These people said that they're in support of my release. They've known me for 5 years, 50 years, whatever. Was my elementary school teacher. Doesn't matter. It's in there. And they're saying, it's time for me to come home. That's what you want. You want an overwhelming response that, yeah, we believe that this person should be released.
Everything that you do in prison, it's documented and it's monitored, because the COs, they write reports on you. If it's not a 115 or 128, which get them 128s, I don't care if the guy's talking about you kissing butt or whatever, you're trying to get your butt up out of prison. So you got to do what you got to do. I'm not saying that, don't go around doing what you're not supposed to do. But at the same time, if you got a supervisor and you're doing a hard job, get that documented. It's that simple. I would also like to express to you that when I got locked up, I was 17 years old. I couldn't read or write, okay? I took it upon myself to go to school because I didn't like the person that I was. And all my hard work and effort are in these 2 books. The GED, the X-ray license, the carpentry license, the certifications, Chapman University, all of that. But it's all because I wanted to change myself, and I wanted to attain my freedom one more time.
Well, this one with the little colored tabs, it looks like because we went in 2009 and then again in 2010, we just used the same book. We just updated it. So instead of putting a new book together for 2010, which was a year later, we kept the 2009 letters and job offers and everything. And these little color tabs just kind of like show where 2010 started, where the new stuff started. Because it was still current. All the information was still current. 2 years ago, no big deal. If we were talking, 15, 20 years ago, then maybe something like this or brand new. But for 2 years' time, this was sufficient. And it did the job. That and him did the job.
And her. We did the job together. Mm-hmm. And you can do it by yourself. It's all about the will, the drive. So keep your chin up. Stay on your knees praising the Lord. And we're going to make a way. And just don't give up.
The Lifer Desk. Any correspondences that you want included in your hearing, your family members need to make sure that it gets to the Lifer's desk so that it can be put in your file. Support letters and that sort of thing. Any correspondence, your family needs to send it certified or signature confirmation so that there is record.
To the Lifer's desk.
Yeah, to the Lifer desk. Not just to the counselor, but to the Lifer desk, and that there's record that these things are actually sent. We sent these books, all 5 of them, I think we sent at a time, to the Lifer desk with, notification as to who would get what. Which member of the board would get a copy, the DA would get a copy, and even the inmate himself, because this would go to your counselor, and then your counselor can get this book forward to you. So you have knowledge of everything that's in here before you go to your hearing.
And like my wife said, just make sure that every piece of paper is genuine. Mm-hmm. Because they will call, see if this place have a business license or so on and so forth. So don't play yourself, because you know how they get down. So anyway, it's personal statements, the table of contents, parole plans, job offers, housing, letters of support, licenses, continuing education, self-help, laudatory chronicles. That's the frame that we put our book in.
In 2008, we were found suitable. We wanted to pass out. I know I did. Kenya, he says...
I was telling my wife, calm down, pump your brakes. Mm-hmm. She was, she was really excited, and which I was too, because we had this guy found suitable. But I knew that it was a strong possibility that the governor would reverse my date, especially being that it was the first one. So I was trying to calm my wife down, which was my fiance, as we all know. Mm. But she got a little upset at me because she didn't want to calm down.
Well, I just want to say that, I understood the possibility of the governor's office and all that, but because we had crossed that first hurdle, I feel like there was no stopping us. Okay, there was no stopping us.
Until the governor busted us upside the head and took the date.
Yeah. You talk about devastation. Now, I know Kenya was devastated because he was looking at all the hope and everything that, I was reacting on. And he had hope of his own because this had never happened before. All the work, like I said, we had done. Picture was beautiful. Sky was blue. Birds were singing. Clouds in the sky, just, those big white fluffy clouds. Everything was perfect. Then we get the news reversed. How could this happen? The process of recoiling, because I am getting emotional. Yeah, the process of going through that from my standpoint was something that I really don't want anyone to have to go through blindly. I will say that if it was done once and you continue on the same path that you were on when you got it that first time, that you can be found suitable again. I will tell you that, and I know it to be so because he was found suitable 2 more times after that. Now, we were reversed twice, in 2008 and in 2009. In 2010 is when we were found suitable, and then the governor affirmed it because he was released in 2011. So yeah, devastation does follow a reversal, but it's not catastrophic. It's not that you can't get up and continue, because that's all it is a continuation. You gotta continue doing what you were doing.
Yes, because when the first reversal came through, I was upset, more so for my family and my wife, but it gave me the drive to do even more. So I said to myself, I was telling you this the other day in the car, how I was so determined. I said, every time I go to board from now on, I'm going to get a date. I'm going to get a date every time. You know, that way I'm putting these writs in the court, and I have like 50 writs if that's what it takes. So I was I knew in my heart that I was going to get a date every time I went back into that boardroom, because I had that lit crack open from the first date, and that's all it took.
That leg to stand on. That leg to stand on. One particular board found you suitable. What's going to make so much of a difference that next board is not going to be able to see, if not the whole picture, at least a glimmer, because you're still the same person, progressing. That's all you're doing. You're progressing. Now, if you shall fall and get some bad mark, or, 115 or whatever, it can change things. It can change the game. The main thing is don't change the game to take the momentum the other way. You want to keep the momentum going.
If you do get caught up in there,
God forbid.
Yeah, God forbid. Keep fighting. You're gonna have to fight even harder. You're gonna have to do extra activity things, to let them know, yeah, I failed, but I didn't let that discourage me, and I'm continuing to march forward.
You don't want to be deterred. I mean, because even as free people, we're striving for perfection, and we're striving to do things right on a daily. You're under a different type of scrutiny, being incarcerated. We know that. But the thing is don't let it deter you from continuing to, go forward. I want to say this also, being seen as human. You want to be seen as a human being, because for so long you've been viewed as less than. So you want your humanity to show. You want them to see that you have the same desires and life goals and hopes that even they have.
If you want it, you got to go get it. And the only way you're going to do it is getting out of bed, going to school, staying in contact with the people out there that's pulling for your release. And she said how we build relationships with companies that we didn't even know. We just started writing them. She started going in, and they started knowing who I was. And I'll write them. I get denied, but I'll write them and let them know that, hey, I got denied, but thank you for your support letter, and I'll be back in contact with you again. And I continue to do that every year. I would send them Christmas cards, sent everybody a Christmas card that was on my list, just to thank them, to let them know, hey, I'm still here. Don't forget about me. I'm still striving for my freedom. And, them little things right there went a long way with a lot of organizations that had our back. And it's just that, don't get discouraged because you get shot down or they tell you to come back in a year or two. It comes around real quick.
It's just an opportunity to get more work done.
Yeah, pretty much. Mm-hmm. And I wish everybody the best. I love you all, even though I don't know you. I'm pulling for you, man. So just get yourself together, get your mind right. And if you don't have loved ones that, or a fiance or somebody that can help you do the footwork out here, keep hope alive, because organizations are coming together as we speak. So please stay away from the cell phones, stay away from the drugs and the weapons, and come on home, man.
The contraband.
Come on home, because we need you out here, and life is beautiful, and you will look beautiful in it. So come on out here, because we need you, we love you, and stay strong. God bless.